My name is Jean Nauss. I am a 1974 graduate of the College of St. Mary and also a Mercy Associate.
And I am Diane Proulx, and I also am an alum of the College of St. Mary from the class of 72. And I've been a Mercy Associate for over 20 years, and I'm one of the co-leaders now of the Mercy Associate program. Well, it really is about lay people, women and men, who want to carry on the mission of the Sisters of Mercy, knowing that as sisters are getting older and hoping that the mission will carry on through lay people. And so we have a group here in Omaha of over 30, and we meet monthly, and we do service projects throughout the community, and we really just try to keep the critical concerns in front of us and Mercy Association in front of us. Well, I understand it was, and I'm not sure of the history of this, so don't, but I understand it was a person who was a sister and left that and decided she wanted to do a little bit more and keep some of the mission going. So I'm pretty sure I know who it is, but I don't want to name her right now. But so it's been going for, I'd say, at least 30 years and maybe longer.
I think, I was raised Catholic here in Omaha. I went to grade school with the Servite sisters. I was in high school with the Franciscans, but when I came here, the Mercy nuns just really struck me. They were just, I don't want to say more hospitable, but I just felt more of a kinship with the Mercies. I liked the critical concerns that they espoused, whether it was, and I was a biology major, so the whole idea of environment and doing things to help the environment was really paramount for me. I've been a Mercy Associate since 2014 and have been involved, like Diane said, with a lot of different activities, whether it's working at the Furniture Project, St. Vincent de Paul. That's why I was in it. And Diane was the one that introduced me to the whole thing, so yeah.
And it's interesting because I had no idea there was even such a thing. And Jean would know Sister Christelle Macaluso, who taught biology, actually. And it was at her funeral in this chapel. And I, at the time, was campus minister because I worked here at College of St. Mary for over 42 years. And during part of that, I was campus minister. And so I went back to the sacristy with Sister Mary McTild Hill, who taught chemistry here for many, many years. And Sister McTild asked me if I would be a Mercy Associate. And I said, tell me more. And kind of started crying because it just felt like Christelle through her death, and then McTild, who came back and helped me in the sacristy, put things away after the funeral. And so I studied with Sister McTild. It's about an 8 or 9 month time that we work with new people. And I became an associate. And Jean, I laugh because Jean said, I asked her, I was an alum director then for 15 years. And so about half of our current Mercy Associates are CSM alumni, because I'd say, aha, she'd be a great one, or whoever. And so if you talk to some of the other associates, they might say the same thing that I asked them, because there's just something about people that shines through as Mercy. And they all said yes, and we studied together, and that's who we are today. Well, it's immigration, anti-violence, women, earth, and what's the fifth?
Racism, anti-racism.
Anti-racism. just by saying those 5 terms, you can understand, you know, in our country today, especially immigration right now, and what's happening there. We just had a wonderful talk on anti-racism by actually Sister Catherine Cooper, who was just here, and so we really try hard to incorporate either a prayer around that or a discussion around that, or we've done, I think, 4 now, Sunday meals for the refugees through Omaha Welcomes the Stranger. And we have with the Furniture Project and Restoring Dignity. We always, like, all of February was our service month. And so we asked all the associates especially to do something, and we did group things too during February. But we really try to focus on one of those topics during each gathering.
There are a lot of opportunities, I think, for the students to interact with the sisters. Whether it's at Sunday Mass here, some of the daily Masses, the nuns will come to those. We have events, whether it's the associate-sponsored events or other events on the campus, where the nuns do make their presence known. As different from when Diane and I were in school, when the nuns were all in the black and white habits, and they were really easy to pick out. I think a lot of times now the students don't realize that some of the people they're talking to really are sisters. But that also makes it a little bit easier for the sisters. They kind of more blend in and are more accepted sometimes than when they were in the black and white. For me, they were very encouraging. Diane mentioned Sister Christelle and Sister McTild. I had them both. And being here and being with the nuns, you were encouraged. You had to take on the leadership roles. There was nobody else. So the women were encouraged to go in, take on, and we learned a lot of things from those sisters, how to speak in public, whether you wanted to or not. Sometimes you were pushed into it, but that's another thing. But yeah, I mean, we were just, it was good for me. It's not going to be for everybody. If you're really somebody that wants to be around a lot of guys or be in a big school, then this isn't the place. But if you want something that's more hands-on and have the availability to see the sisters and to interact with them, this is a great place.
I came from a small town, and I have polio, and in a small town, I was respected and all, but I was never given any opportunity for leadership because of this. And my freshman year, I remember very clearly, I was a medical record administration major, and Sister Eugene Ramey was in charge of that program. And we had a club, medical record club, and they asked me to be the photographer. And I was shocked at that those were the days when you really had to carry the camera and take pictures and then develop the film and all of those things, which, is unbelievable now. But that was my first step into saying, you have something to give. And the sisters noticed those things, and they push you. And by junior year, I was on the student senate, and by senior year, I was a senate exec. And so got to meet with the sisters. Now their presence, I think you still feel it. You feel it with the Mercy Crosses throughout the campus. I think they're in the classrooms. I'm not sure. They're supposed to be. But it just, there's just a charism of mercy and caring, and even the Spirit of Service Day that the college does here every year to encourage students to get out and do service. there's just that continuum of experiences that I think lead students toward knowing that hopefully that the Sisters of Mercy's presence, whether physically or just spiritually, is here on campus. I think charism to me means almost caring, hospitality, noticing someone that might be sitting off to the side, and you go to them and talk to them. You don't ignore them. And, it just is a whole different feeling of sharing love in many ways with whomever, and not caring what color, what country they're from, or anything else. It's, you're here, you want a good education, come on in.
I think the other thing too is that we try to make people feel important. You have a self-importance, and you want to expand that to everyone, include everyone in that. And like Diane said, whether it's spiritually or being physically present, we still want to make people welcome and make them feel important.
One of the things we do, quite a few of the sisters live at Emmanuel Assisted Living. And so we go at least twice a year. Last year it was 3 times, and have birthday parties with those sisters. And we send birthday cards to those sisters on their birthday. And it's just that continuum of keeping in touch with them that feels so good. It just feels good when you do things like that, for me. It really did. It was like, really? You think I can do this? I never was given any opportunity like that in high school. And again, I wasn't disrespected or anything, or bullied or anything of that nature, but to think that I could be that person, it really did. I just kept going. We had a newspaper at the time, and I became the editor of that, and then went on into Senate execs, and I just kept getting empowered to do those things. And the sisters, they just were always available, and that charism of their life. And I hope and pray that it's still here. I feel very strongly that it is. I still volunteer. I retired 5 years ago from the college after 42 plus years. And I still come once a week. And because I want that energy. I want the energy from the students and the people around, and the excitement of what's going on. And when I walked in today and the walking woman has her cap and gown on, I thought I had that made for this purpose. And it just was uplifting to see it happening again, because this is graduation week and people notice those things. I feel absolutely.
I think so too. I think it's very important. If you look at the demographics of the United States, there's more women than there are men, but it seems like the men are more pushed into those leadership roles, whereas here at the college, it's up to the women. It's a small women's college, and I don't know what else to say. It's a great place to be. It's a great place to learn. Classes are small. The instructors, including the nuns, they're very willing to help and go out of their way to help sometimes. So
last year and the year before, we asked if we could go into the theology classes and talk about Mercy Association, to the theology classes that were being offered at the time. And so several associates did that throughout that fall semester. And three of our current associates came forth from that class, or one of those classes, because the instructor was talking about Mercy and the Sisters of Mercy and Catherine McCauley and how it all began. And then we added the 5 or 7 minutes of what is Mercy Association. And I plan to do that again. In fact, I talked with Jennifer out in the hallway again about doing it again this year. And it's just, it's important, very important. And it will help continue the Mercy feeling, I feel.
College was started in 1924, 24, yeah, 23, 24.
23.
And it was downtown Omaha. I don't remember the exact address down there. But in 1955, we moved out to this campus. I remember coming, because this was farmland out here, and I remember coming out here with my grandparents I would have been 3 years old, to see this, wow, new school, not knowing that, some years later I would be here.
I think we were taught about that history, and especially about Catherine McCauley. And now, as Mercy Associates, you maybe don't know the story that Catherine McCauley, on her deathbed, told these sisters to have a comfortable cup of tea, and that she was going to be okay dying, and they should go and have a comfortable cup of tea. So as Mercy Associates, we have a half hour before our gathering. We call it Catherine's Tea. And we invite the associates to come and literally have a cup of tea and visit and talk and get to know each other better before our gathering. And you talked to Sister Jean O'Rourke earlier today, and she still hosts a tea room at Mercy High School. And for that very purpose, to talk about Catherine McCauley and her, what she did in her day to go help women and children on the street get an education and work toward having some sort of life beyond what they were doing. One of the sisters just moved to Emmanuel a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things the associates do is take a caring package gift to welcome her. And so another associate, Marcia, and I went, and oh my gosh, we sat for over an hour. This sister is 92 or 93 years old. And just to hear what she did in her career and the places she was and the things she did is overwhelming. And no way, as I sat listening to her and other sisters, would we ever fill their shoes from what they did. And I am amazed at so much of what they did. And some of it was they were told what to do.
Right.
It's not always did they have the preparation for it, but they figured it out and did it anyway. And I just admire them so, so much. And to sit and visit with the sisters is just amazing to hear their story.
I remember I took analytical chemistry as a junior. Sister McTild was my instructor. There was only 4 of us in the class, not many chemistry majors. But there was one experiment that we were doing, and we needed to use this particular instrument, but the power cord was missing. We looked everywhere, could not find every place in the chemistry area, couldn't find this power cord. So Sister McTild went downstairs, and she said, I wonder if Sister Christelle has it. Christelle had an office down on the first floor, which was all biology. And after about 5 minutes, she comes up, McTild comes back upstairs, walks in the room, jumping rope with the power cord. You don't see very many little nuns jumping rope with power cords, but she did. I said, where did you find the cord? She goes, oh, Christelle had it. So Christelle would do goofy things as well.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when I was taking anatomy and physiology from her as a senior. One of the things that we had to do was we had to do a senior project. As bio majors, chemistry majors, we had senior projects, and mine involved working with rats. Dietary influences on muscle fatty acid composition was my thing. So I had rats downstairs in cages, but then during anatomy and phys lecture, the girl comes in, whispers something to Christelle, comes back out. Christelle, on the mic, says, Jeannie Beagley, your rats are loose downstairs. Okay, so my rats were loose. It was like 2 rats and the cage had just popped open, but it was no big deal. She would do goofy things. That was one. Everybody laughed.
And it's not, we were in class a few times and she would bounce into the classroom right in the middle of whatever was happening, be singing or whatever, just to make you laugh, and then walk back out again. And even Sister McTild, one time, she got a rose in a vase, and it was on her desk, and she kept watering it. And she, do you remember this?
Yeah.
She couldn't believe how long it lasted. And finally, weeks later, she figured out it was plastic. It was just but for her to admit that to us and tell us that story just tells you how much they just would give everything, their heart and soul, to whoever needed it. And one of our, I won't say, I was dean of students for a number of years, and we'd have parties. And after the party, we had decorations and things left over. And Sister Christelle would come because she lived close to a family who was very, very poor. And so she would take these decorations and the leftover food and have a little party with them. And she got the mom to come here to class, and she got an art major, and she helped get her teeth fixed. And her son, this woman's son, is currently employed here. And talk about Mercy Circle. And he's just a wonderful man. And I've heard that word Mercy Circle a few times. Sister Macaulay Gilgannon was a history teacher here. And she would say to me, full mercy circle, Diane, full mercy circle. And it just brings you back to appreciate all that they did in their career, because they've all done amazing. Well, even they take a vow of service, which the other sisters, the servants of Mary and others, do not, which tells you right there that that's besides the other commitments they make a vow to do service. Well, as I understand it, which is right in our doors of our chapel, is there's no corpus on the cross. And the purpose is that the idea that those sisters put themselves there to offer to whomever whatever is needed. They are that person on that cross to give. Well, of course, I wish there were more living and more. Yeah. I know there's 14 or 15 studying now to become sisters. And we hosted an evening where the sisters came to meet the associates and vice versa, because we don't see each other very often. I mean, not all of the people see each other. And now that some of the sisters live at Emmanuel, we have to make a special effort to go there. And some of our associates do. One of the things we're going to be talking about in an upcoming meeting is sort of adopting a Sister of Mercy who lives there, and have 2 Mercy associates adopt one sister, and then take turns just going and talking with them and learning more about them. Because some of them lived, in Durango, Colorado, some of their life, and so we didn't know them as the Mercy associate or the Sisters of Mercy that worked here. So that's one of our discussions upcoming in one of our gatherings, to see if the associates would like to do that. I just feel lifted up when I've been with one of the sisters, or we have an event, or one of my friends crocheted some lap blankets. And so we made, in early May, the associates went to Emmanuel, and we gave a blanket to an associate and had them take it to one of the sisters and sit and visit for a while. And we had to be done at 7 because they get their pajamas on and getting ready for bed. But I didn't go into the sisters' rooms. I just waited in the community room for the associates to come back after visiting. And you could just feel I kind of floated out of there that night, because I could just feel the spirit within all of them touching me as well. And it's just a wonderful feeling to me.
As an associate, one of the things that that we do, or before we become an associate, you always have a sponsor. And I didn't really know, I mean, I knew Diane, but everybody was approaching Diane. But Sister Jean O'Rourke was there. And so I asked her if she would be my sponsor. Well, Sister Jean and I still get together about every month or every other month for tea at her place. It was Sister Jean and Sister Johanna were roommates. And at one point, I was going through a really tough time. And so they invited me over, and we would have a little brunch and some tea, and they would talk. And it's, as Diane has mentioned several times, it was just so uplifting and so supportive on their part to be there for me when I really needed somebody. And I think that people that don't take advantage of that, I think, are really missing out. That there are these women, these wonderful women that are there. I don't care if they're 35 or 95, they're willing to sit and listen to you and help, even if their help is just praying. That's what they do. And it was amazing for me to experience that and still have that ongoing relationship with Sister Jean. It was extremely important. I had just mentioned it in passing at one of the meetings to Sister Jean, and she's like, why don't you come over on whatever date it was, and we'll have tea and we can talk about this more in depth. Okay. Not knowing that Sister Johanna was going to be there, but okay, that was fine. So it was the 3 of us, and we talked about it and we prayed about it, and they gave me some ideas of what to do and how to approach different things that were going on. And it really did help. It kind of helped center me and not go off the deep end. I was, okay, I can do this now. I have somebody that is my support team. So that was really important for me. And as Sister Jean said later on, it was important for them to be able to recognize the fact that they were still able to help, even though Sister Johanna didn't get around very much anymore. And, Sister Jean was always busy at Mercy and running 6 different ways to Sunday. It was important for them to know that they made an impact for me.
And it was just something that you happened to mention
Yeah.
at the meeting that they picked up on and then invited you to talk further about it.
Yep.
That's who they are.
I think one of the paybacks for being a Mercy Associate is that you are with other women in a religious context, not just at Mass, and I use the word just, but I don't like that, to be able to interact with other women who think the same way, but still have their own opinions on what to do, what not to do. I think it's really important that these prospective associates recognize that there is a really great place for them to be involved, and it's through the associates. If they want to be involved with the social justice, there are women associates that write to the prisoners. There are associates that get involved with environmental cleanups along the Missouri River. There are just a number of different ways that they can get involved and still be a part of this wonderful group of women.
It takes about 8 months to study. And we start with Catherine McCauley and talk about her. And then there's other subjects along the way. We usually have a Sister of Mercy come and talk about the critical concerns, because you have to believe in those 5 concerns. Otherwise, because that's what we need to carry forth. And it is open to men as well. It's a group for, in fact, we have one new associate who is a man this time. That's our first time, which is great. So it's open to lay people. And I would just say go for it, because it's so rewarding, first of all, to understand Catherine McCauley and what she did in the late 1700s and early 1800s to help women and children at that time. And it's just a historical piece that everyone should know about. And once you do know about it, you usually take the next steps. And so we meet individually with whoever wants to learn more about it, and then we slowly intermingle the groups. And then just back in March, we had what we call the covenant ceremony, which is when the new associates commit to being a part of the gatherings. And it's not there's no one checking that you're at every gathering or any of that. You feel that you want to come. There were times when I was working that I thought, I am too tired. There's no way I can go tonight. But I drive right past the community room, so I turn in and go. And I left feeling so rewarded, so appreciated and uplifted. And the prayer time is very, very neat. Actually, Jean is going to do our next gathering on the subject of Mary, because it's the month of Mary. So, and we have time to discuss, we have time to pray for others, and time to bring up if we need a question or just a little bit of help somewhere. We can do that too. So
for me, it's, one of those things that when you're there, everybody's meetinged out anymore. And most of the time it's, I have to go to this meeting. And I've said that to my husband. I have to go to this meeting tonight. I have to go. I never say that when I go to an associate meeting. I'm going to the associates tonight. See you later. It's one of the things, it's one thing that I want to do. It's never, I have to. I want to. I want to be involved with these women. I want to pray with these women.
I agree. I think that's true of everyone that comes. I really do. It's an uplifting hour and a half.